name's Helen Prosser, and I'm one of the founders of Brilliant Beginnings. And this is the third part in a series of short clips that we've pulled together in relation to structuring a really well set up surrogacy arrangement here in the UK. Today, I'm really excited to introduce you to Vicky Parkin and Ruth Wild, who have supported our surrogates both during their screening and preparation stages, but also afterwards as their journey progresses and also post-birth. And they're going to talk about the importance of counselling in any really well set up surrogacy arrangement.
What I absolutely want is for you to feel comfortable to talk to me about anything. We want this to be a success for you. We absolutely want you to have a good outcome. At the end of the journey for a surrogate, we want you to feel so proud of yourself, so good about what you've done, and for it to have been a real life-enhancing experience. As Helen said, I've been a part of this for a very long time, and it's just been such an honour to meet so many surrogates.
I sort of want surrogates to be a little bit high maintenance. It is okay to say, I want this or I don't want this. One of the most important things we talk about is what you're looking for in your IPs, and I think that is so important. We'll also think a little bit about fertility treatment, because that will be something you'll be going through, and that will be something that's really different. We'll look at that from your perspective. We'll look at that from your IP's perspective. We'll look at it from, what happens if it doesn't work. We'll look at how you see your ideal labour and delivery. I guess we'll all be aware that things don't necessarily go to plan, but we'll talk about what you're hoping for your labour and your delivery. Very likely you've got a lot of experience of what you want to happen, but also perhaps what you don't want to happen.
So I'm really interested in who's in your life, what's in your life, what your day-to-day is now. It's like putting a pin in the map as to what your life is like before the surrogacy journey. People are very curious about surrogacy, and some people may just talk amongst themselves about it, and some people may actually ask you about it. And so I think it's about your own resilience and your own sort of ability to be able to explain a little bit about it, and maybe you may end up having the role of an educator to an extent and having to educate other people.
We'll also talk about expenses. I think these can often be the elephant in the room, really, and shouldn't be. I think there's something that you need to talk about really soon. We'll also hopefully talk about things that perhaps you haven't thought about. Having a family is a little bit like having a full-time job. Having a job is, very often very time-consuming. I think running those two things takes up a lot of time, and then adding a third thing into the mix, I think it is really important to think about logistically, can you cope with that? And very often I think that can depend on your support system.
I think it's important to consider how surrogacy fits into your hopes and plans for the future and what your long-term goals might be. One of the things that is really important that I want to help you with is how to talk to your children about the surrogacy arrangement. And although I see you very early in the process, I want to encourage you to start thinking about the end and what that might be like for your children. I think we now know that it's important that they see the baby being handed over to the intended parents, that they see that there was an actual baby.
We will also look at when more counselling might be needed. Counselling can be a really, really important lifesaver in a surrogacy journey if things aren't going necessarily to plan. I think the pre-birth counselling that Brilliant Beginnings offer and the post-birth are really vital.